The massive doors of the Galactic Council chambers slid open with a loud hiss. Captain Jake Morrison stood at the entrance, straightening his blue dress uniform. His heart beat faster as he looked at the huge room filled with aliens from across the galaxy. Next to him, Ambassador Lisa Chen kept her face calm, even though she could feel the unfriendly stares from every direction. The chamber was bigger than any stadium on Earth. Floating platforms held representatives from thousands of different worlds. Some aliens looked like giant insects. Others were made of pure energy. A few looked almost human, except for their strange colors or extra limbs. The air smelled different here, like ozone mixed with flowers that didn't exist on Earth. Jake took a deep breath and stepped forward. His boots clicked on the polished floor that seemed to be made of liquid metal. Behind him, Senator Ryan Brooks followed closely, carrying a small silver case that held Earth's greatest secret. At the center of the chamber, the Vorathi counselor rose from its seat. The alien was 12 feet tall and looked like it was carved from living crystal. When it moved, rainbow colors danced across its surface. Its voice boomed through the chamber, translated by the universal communicator in Jake's ear. "The primitive species from Sol system has requested an audience," the Vorathi announced. "They claim to possess technology worthy of our consideration." Laughter filled the chamber. It wasn't normal laughter. Some aliens made clicking sounds, others produced musical notes, and a few released clouds of colored gas. But Jake understood the meaning. They were laughing at humanity. Lisa stepped forward, her black hair pulled back in a tight bun. She wore the formal robes of an Earth ambassador, decorated with symbols representing all of humanity's nations. "Honored members of the Galactic Council," she began, her voice steady and clear. "We come before you today to share a breakthrough that will change everything." More laughter echoed through the chamber. A blob-like creature from the gelatinous consortium wiggled in amusement. "Change everything," it gurgled. "Your species has barely left its own star system. What could you possibly offer us?" Jake felt his face grow hot with anger, but Lisa touched his arm gently. "Stay calm," her eyes seemed to say. The Zeltrax representative floated forward in its antigrav bubble. The creature had dozens of tentacles, each one holding a different device. With a wave of one tentacle, it created a huge hologram in the center of the chamber. "Let us review humanity's impressive achievements," the Zeltrax said, its voice dripping with sarcasm. The hologram showed grainy footage of early rocket launches, many of them exploding on the launch pad. "Behold, the mighty humans and their chemical rockets." The image changed to show the Apollo moon landing. It took them multiple attempts just to reach their own moon. The Zeltrax continued. "A mere 384,000 kilometers from their home planet. Most of our children can teleport farther than that for their morning education." Ryan's knuckles turned white as he gripped the silver case tighter. Jake could see the senator's jaw muscles working as he fought to control his temper. The hologram shifted again, showing the International Space Station. And here, their crowning achievement, a tin can orbiting their planet. "While we were building Dyson spheres and manipulating black holes, humans were proud of their floating laboratory." "Enough," Lisa said, her voice cutting through the laughter. "Yes, we started our journey later than most of you. Yes, our early attempts were crude by your standards. But that's exactly why you should listen to what we have to say." The Vorathi counselor tilted its crystalline head. "Speak then, human. Amuse us with your primitive discoveries." Lisa nodded to Ryan, who stepped forward and opened the silver case. Inside was a small device, no bigger than a baseball, covered in strange symbols that seemed to shift and change as you looked at them. "This," Lisa announced, "is a quantum field manipulator. With this device, we have solved the problem that has puzzled even your most advanced scientists for millennia." The laughter stopped. Several aliens leaned forward, their various sensory organs focused on the small device. "Impossible," whispered a gaseous being from the Nebula Confederation. "Quantum field manipulation requires energy levels beyond any known technology." Lisa smiled for the first time since entering the chamber. That's what we thought too. Until we discovered we were thinking about the problem all wrong. The silence in the chamber lasted only a moment before the mockery began again, even louder than before. Senator Ryan Brooks felt his face burning as alien laughter filled the massive room. He watched Lisa hold up the small device, trying to maintain her dignity while creatures from across the galaxy pointed and jeered. The Zeltrax representative waved multiple tentacles, creating more holograms around the chamber. "Oh, please continue," it said, voice thick with amusement. "Show us more of humanity's grand achievements. Perhaps you've invented something truly remarkable, like the wheel." Fresh waves of laughter crashed over the human delegation. Jake Morrison's hands curled into fists at his sides. He had trained for years to represent Earth in space, had studied alien cultures and protocols, but nothing had prepared him for this level of disrespect. A spider-like being from the Arachnid Collective skittered forward on its platform. Its multiple eyes focused on the humans as it spoke through its translator. "My species mastered quantum mechanics when your ancestors were still living in caves. What makes you think you've discovered something we haven't already perfected?" Lisa kept her composure, though Jake could see a slight tremor in her hands. "If you would allow us to demonstrate," interrupted a being that looked like a living storm cloud. Electricity crackled between its misty form as it spoke. "The last time humans demonstrated their technology to this council, they showed us their revolutionary fusion reactor. We've been using those to power our children's toys for 10,000 years. Ryan stepped forward, unable to contain himself any longer. "You judge us by our past, not our potential. Every species had to start somewhere." The Vorathi counselor's crystalline form pulsed with light. "Indeed, Senator Brooks. But most species show proper respect to their betters. Humans seem to lack this basic courtesy." "Our betters." Jake couldn't help but speak up. "With respect, Counselor, you haven't even looked at what we're offering." A serpentine alien with scales that shifted through every color of the rainbow slithered forward. "Young species," it hissed, "always think they've discovered something new. We've seen your type before. Full of pride and ambition, but lacking the wisdom that comes with age." The Zeltrax projected another hologram, this time showing Earth itself. "Look at your world," it said, "still divided into primitive nation-states, still fighting wars over resources, still polluting your own atmosphere. And you dare to come before us claiming technological superiority." Lisa lowered the device slightly. For a moment, Jake thought she might give up, but then she straightened her shoulders and spoke with renewed determination. "You're right about many things. We are a young species. We have made mistakes. We still have much to learn." At last, some humility, muttered a plant-like being whose leaves rustled with each word. But Lisa continued, raising her voice, "Our youth gives us something you've lost. We still ask, what if? We still challenge assumptions. While you rest on the achievements of your ancestors, we push forward every day." The Corvin Empire's delegate, a massive insectoid with wings that sparkled like diamonds, clicked its mandibles in disapproval. "Pretty words, Ambassador Chen. But words mean nothing here. The Galactic Council deals in facts, in proven technology, in measurable advancement." Ryan opened his mouth to respond, but Lisa raised her hand to stop him. She understood something the men didn't. They were being tested. The Council wasn't just mocking them. They were pushing to see how humans would react under pressure. "Then let us present facts," Lisa said calmly. She held up the device again. "This quantum field manipulator doesn't work the way you think it should. We didn't follow your established theories. We found a completely different approach." A collective murmur ran through the chamber. Several aliens exchanged glances. The floating brain-like entity from the Cerebral Coalition pulsed with curiosity. "Explain," it commanded. Jake felt a surge of hope. Finally, someone was listening. "Your quantum theories all start with the same assumption," Lisa began. "That reality has fixed rules. We discovered that reality is more flexible than you believe." The chamber fell silent. Even the Zeltrax stopped waving its tentacles. The Vorathi counselor leaned forward, its crystalline structure humming with interest. But before Lisa could continue, alarms suddenly blared throughout the chamber. Red lights flashed as a mechanical voice announced, "Emergency session protocol activated. Unknown energy signature detected in council space." The alarms stopped as suddenly as they had started. The red emergency lights faded back to normal, and the mechanical voice announced, "False alarm. System diagnostic error. Council session may continue." Jake Morrison noticed several aliens looking suspicious. The timing seemed too convenient. Just when Lisa was about to reveal their secret, the alarms had interrupted. He caught Ryan Brooks' eye, and the senator nodded slightly. They were thinking the same thing. The Vorathi counselor raised a crystalline limb. "Order. We shall continue. Ambassador Chen, you were explaining your discovery." Before Lisa could speak, the Corvin Empire's delegate stood up. The giant insectoid's wings buzzed angrily. "Enough of this waste of time. If these humans truly possess advanced technology, let them prove it with actions, not words." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. The Zeltrax representative's tentacles waved excitedly. "Yes, a demonstration, but not here in the safety of the council chambers. We propose a real test." Lisa remained calm. "What kind of test did you have in mind?" The Corvin delegate's compound eyes glittered. "The Maelstrom Nebula. Cross it in less than one standard galactic cycle." The chamber erupted in shocked whispers. Jake felt his stomach drop. Every spacefaring species knew about the Maelstrom Nebula. It was a region of space where the laws of physics seemed to break down. Ships that entered rarely came out. Even the most advanced civilizations avoided it. "That's suicide," Ryan blurted out. "No ship has ever successfully navigated the Maelstrom." The plant-like being rustled its leaves in what might have been amusement. "Then you admit your technology is not so advanced after all." Lisa held up her hand before Ryan could respond. "What are the exact terms of this challenge?" The Vorathi counselor stood to its full height. "The terms are simple. Enter the Maelstrom Nebula at the designated coordinates. Exit on the opposite side within one standard galactic cycle, approximately 3 of your Earth hours. Your entire delegation must make the journey." "And if we succeed?" Lisa asked. "Then the Council will acknowledge human technological advancement and grant you full membership with senior status," the Vorathi replied. "You would have access to all our trade routes, scientific databases, and diplomatic privileges." "And if we fail?" Jake had to ask, though he already knew the answer. The Zeltrax made a sound like bubbling laughter. "If you fail, humanity will accept its place as a junior species under the guidance of its betters. No more claims of technological breakthroughs. No more demands for equal recognition." The chamber fell silent, waiting for the human response. Jake could feel the weight of the moment. This wasn't just about their lives. It was about humanity's future in the galaxy. Lisa turned to face Jake and Ryan. Speaking quietly so only they could hear, she said, "The quantum field manipulator can do this. The Maelstrom's chaos won't affect us if we're not technically in normal space." "Are you sure?" Ryan whispered back. "We've only tested it in controlled conditions." "The math is solid," Lisa replied. "Besides, they'll never take us seriously unless we do this. They need to see it to believe it." Jake thought about the crew waiting on their ship, his pilot, Amy Rodriguez, his chief engineer, Tony Wallace, all the people who had worked so hard to get them here. "I trust you, Lisa. If you say we can do it, then we'll do it." Lisa turned back to face the council. "We accept your challenge." The aliens seemed surprised. Many had expected the humans to back down. The spider-like being from the Arachnid Collective clicked its mandibles. "You're either very brave or very foolish." "Perhaps both," Lisa said with a slight smile. "When do we begin?" The Vorathi counselor manipulated some controls, and a holographic star map appeared in the center of the chamber. A region of swirling colors and distorted space was highlighted. "The Maelstrom Nebula. You have 12 hours to prepare. The entire Galactic Council will observe your attempt. As the human delegation turned to leave, the Corvin delegate called out, "Enjoy your last hours, humans. The Maelstrom has humbled species far older and wiser than yours." Jake paused at the chamber door and looked back. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe you've all forgotten how to take risks. The doors closed behind them with a heavy thud, leaving the aliens to contemplate his words. The U.S. Defiance floated in space dock, its sleek hull reflecting the light of distant stars. Jake Morrison stood on the bridge, watching his crew prepare for the most dangerous mission in human history. Through the view screen, he could see dozens of alien ships gathering to witness their attempt at the impossible. Amy Rodriguez, the ship's pilot, ran her hands over the controls. "Navigation systems are green, Captain. But I've never seen readings like these from the Maelstrom. It's like space itself is torn apart in there." Chief Engineer Tony Wallace emerged from the lift, his face showing signs of sleepless hours. "Captain, I need to show you something in engineering. It's about the quantum drive." Jake followed Tony down to the engine room, where the quantum field manipulator sat in its special containment chamber. The device hummed with an energy that seemed to bend light around it. Dr. Kevin Patel, the lead physicist, was making final adjustments. "Tell him what you told me," Tony said to Kevin. Kevin looked up, his dark eyes serious behind his glasses. "Captain, I need you to understand exactly what we're about to do. This isn't just another form of faster-than-light travel." "I'm listening," Jake said. Kevin brought up a holographic display. "Every FTL system in the galaxy works by manipulating space-time. They bend it, fold it, or punch holes through it, but they all stay within our reality." He pointed to the quantum device. "This doesn't. When we activate it, we literally step outside of normal space-time." "Outside?" Jake frowned. "Where do we go?" "That's the beautiful part," Lisa Chen said, entering the engine room with Ryan Brooks. "We go into a state of quantum superposition. We exist in all possible locations simultaneously until we choose where to collapse back into reality." Ryan shook his head. "I still don't fully understand it, and I've been studying the reports for months." Kevin smiled. "Think of it like this. Imagine reality is a river. Every other FTL drive finds ways to swim faster, or build boats, or even dam the river. We simply step out of the river entirely, walk along the bank to where we want to go, then step back in." "And the Maelstrom?" Jake asked. "The Maelstrom is chaos in the river," Lisa explained. "Whirlpools, rapids, waterfalls. But if we're not in the river, it can't affect us." Jake finished. "Brilliant, but why hasn't anyone else thought of this?" Kevin's expression grew serious. "Because it requires thinking about physics in a completely different way. The older civilizations are trapped by their own knowledge. They've spent millions of years perfecting their understanding of how space-time works. We had to start from scratch, so we question basic assumptions they take for granted." An alert chimed through the ship. Amy's voice came over the intercom. "Captain, the Council is signaling. They want to begin the observation protocol." "On my way," Jake replied. He turned to his team. "Are we ready?" Tony nodded. "All systems are optimal. The quantum drive is stable." "The calculations are perfect," Kevin added. "We've run 10,000 simulations. This will work." Jake looked at Lisa. "Ambassador." She straightened her uniform. "Let's show them what humans can do when we're underestimated." Back on the bridge, the main screen activated to show the Vorathi counselor. "Captain Morrison, the observation fleet is in position. You may begin your approach to the Maelstrom when ready." "Understood, Counselor," Jake replied. He turned to his bridge crew. "All stations, report status." "Helm ready," Amy said. "Navigation locked," reported Danny Taylor from the nav station. "Shields at maximum," confirmed Maria Santos at tactical. "Quantum drive standing by," Tony reported from engineering. Jake sat in the captain's chair, feeling the weight of history on his shoulders. Open a channel to all observing vessels. Channel open. Sir, the communications officer confirmed. Jake spoke clearly and confidently. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the U.S. Defiance. We are about to attempt transit through the Maelstrom Nebula using human-developed quantum technology. To quote one of our ancient sayings, we choose to do this not because it is easy, but because it is hard. He paused, then added, Helm, take us in. Let's make history. The U.S. Defiance turned toward the swirling chaos of the Maelstrom Nebula, while hundreds of alien sensors watched their every move. The U.S. Defiance moved steadily toward the Maelstrom Nebula. On the bridge, everyone could see the swirling mass of energy and distorted space growing larger on the view screen. Colors that had no names twisted and merged, while lightning-like discharges crackled across the nebula surface. Distance to nebula edge, 5,000 kilometers. Amy Rodriguez reported, her voice steady despite the terrifying sight ahead. Jake Morrison gripped the arms of his captain's chair. All departments, final status check. From engineering, Tony Wallace responded, Quantum drive is powered and ready. All systems showing green. Shields at maximum. Structural integrity field holding. Maria Santos added from tactical. Through the communication system, they could hear chatter from the alien observation ships. Most were betting on how quickly the human ship would be destroyed. The Zeltrax representative was offering odds that they wouldn't even make it past the outer edge. Distance, 1,000 kilometers, Amy announced. Captain, I'm reading massive gravitational distortions ahead. The space-time fabric it's like nothing I've ever seen. Lisa Chen stood next to Jake's chair, her face calm. Remember, none of that matters once we activate the quantum drive. We won't be in normal space. Distance, 500 kilometers, entering outer distortion field. The ship began to shake. On the view screen, reality itself seemed to warp. Stars stretched into lines, then spirals. Colors shifted through impossible spectrums. Hull stress increasing, Maria reported. Shields are taking a beating from the gravitational waves. Jake turned to his chief engineer. Tony, prepare to engage quantum drive on my mark. Standing by, Captain. Distance, 100 kilometers. We're at the edge. The shaking intensified. Alarms began to sound as the ship's systems struggled against forces that defied conventional physics. Through the view screen, the maelstrom looked like a wall of pure chaos. Shields down to 70%. Maria called out. Now, Tony. Jake ordered. Engage quantum drive. In engineering, Tony Wallace pressed the activation sequence. Kevin Patel monitored the readings as the quantum field manipulator came to life. Quantum field expanding, reaching critical threshold. Now, reality blinked. For a moment that seemed to last forever and no time at all, the crew of the U.S. Defiance experienced something beyond human comprehension. They existed everywhere and nowhere. They could see all possible paths through the maelstrom simultaneously. Paths where they succeeded, paths where they failed, paths where they never existed at all. Then, as suddenly as it began, it ended. Status report, Jake demanded, shaking off the disorientation. Amy checked her console, her eyes wide with disbelief. Captain, we're on the other side. We're through the maelstrom. Confirm position, Jake ordered. Danny Taylor at navigation ran multiple scans. Confirmed, sir. We've emerged at the exact coordinates specified by the Council. Transit time. He paused, double-checking his readings. 7 minutes, 12 seconds. The bridge erupted in celebration. Maria hugged Danny. Amy pumped her fist in the air. Even the usually reserved Lisa allowed herself a broad smile. Tony, Kevin, status on the quantum drive? Jake asked. All systems nominal, Tony reported. The device performed exactly as predicted. Kevin's calculations were perfect. Jake stood and walked to the view screen. Behind them, The Maelstrom Nebula continued its chaotic dance, but they had passed through it like ghosts walking through a wall. "Open a channel to the observation fleet," Jake ordered. "Channel open. But sir," the communications officer looked confused. "I'm not picking up any signals from the alien ships." "They're probably still on the other side," Ryan Brooks suggested. "They won't expect us to be through yet." Jake nodded. "Broadcast on all frequencies. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the U.S. Defiance. We have successfully traversed the Maelstrom Nebula, awaiting confirmation from the Galactic Council." They waited. 1 minute passed. Then 2. Finally, sensors detected ships emerging from normal space near their position. But these weren't the observation fleet. They were automated Council sensor buoys. A mechanical voice spoke through the comm system. "Transit confirmed. U.S. Defiance has completed passage through Maelstrom Nebula. Time: 7 minutes, 12 seconds. This is an official record. Stand by for Council response." Jake turned to his crew. "We did it. We actually did it." Lisa stepped forward. "The hard part is over. Now comes the interesting part, watching them try to understand how we did it." Outside, more sensor buoys continued to arrive, scanning the U.S. Defiance with every type of sensor known to galactic civilization, trying to comprehend the impossible. 10 minutes passed before the first alien ship appeared on the far side of the Maelstrom. It was a Vorathi science vessel, its crystalline hull shimmering as it emerged from hyperspace. More ships followed: Zeltrax cruisers, Corvin battleships, and dozens of other craft from species across the galaxy. On the bridge of the U.S. Defiance, Jake Morrison watched the growing fleet with satisfaction. "They're checking their sensors over and over," he said. "They can't believe we're actually here." Amy Rodriguez grinned from her pilot station. "Their computers must be going crazy trying to figure out how we did it." The main view screen flickered to life, showing the Vorathi counselor. The giant crystal being's usual rainbow shimmer seemed dulled, as if in shock. "Captain Morrison, this is unprecedented." "Counselor," Jake replied with a slight nod. "As agreed, we have traversed the Maelstrom Nebula within the time limit." 7 minutes and 12 seconds, the Vorathi said slowly, as if speaking the words might make them less real. "Our fastest theoretical model suggested a minimum transit time of 3 months, with a 98% probability of ship destruction." Behind the counselor, Jake could see other alien representatives crowding into view. The Zeltrax that had mocked them earlier waved its tentacles frantically. "Impossible. They must have cheated. No ship can survive the Maelstrom's quantum fluctuations." Lisa Chen stepped forward. "With respect, we didn't survive the quantum fluctuations. We bypassed them entirely." "Explain," demanded the Corvin delegate, its insectoid wings buzzing with agitation. "Our quantum field manipulator doesn't fight against spacetime distortions," Lisa said. "It removes us from normal spacetime altogether. We existed in a state of quantum superposition during transit." The floating brain entity from the Cerebral Coalition pulsed rapidly. Theoretical quantum superposition of matter was deemed impossible for objects larger than subatomic particles. The energy requirements alone. "That's where you were wrong." Kevin Patel's voice came through from engineering. Jake had patched him into the communication. "You calculated based on forcing superposition onto matter. We don't force anything. We allow matter to naturally enter superposition by removing the observers." Silence fell across the alien fleet. Jake could almost hear their scientific worldviews crumbling. The arachnid representative clicked its mandibles. "But the navigation. How did you control where you emerged?" "We didn't navigate through the Maelstrom," Amy explained. "We calculated our emergence point before entering superposition, then collapsed the quantum state at the desired location. Like setting your destination before stepping out of the river," Lisa added, referring to Kevin's earlier analogy. The Vorathi counselor's crystalline structure began to pulse with new colors. "This technology, it would revolutionize galactic travel. Trade routes through previously impassable regions, exploration of quantum anomalies. The implications are staggering. Now do you understand? Jake asked. Humans may be young compared to your civilizations, but that youth gives us fresh perspectives. We question assumptions you've held for millennia. The Zeltrax representative had gone quiet, its tentacles drooping. Other aliens were engaging in heated discussions among themselves. Some looked afraid, others excited, and many simply confused. A small butterfly-like alien that hadn't spoken before fluttered forward. Its voice was like wind chimes. The humans have earned their place. They have shown us that even ancient minds can learn new truths. Agreed, rumbled a massive creature that looked like a living mountain. We have witnessed something remarkable today. The Vorathi counselor raised a crystalline limb for silence. The Galactic Council formally acknowledges humanity's successful completion of the Maelstrom Challenge. Captain Morrison, Ambassador Chen, we await your return to the Council chambers for formal proceedings. We'll be there, Jake confirmed. He turned to his crew. Set course for the Council station. Standard engines this time. Let's give them a chance to catch their breath. As the U.S. Defiance turned toward the Council station, surrounded by alien ships now treating them with newfound respect, Ryan Brooks moved to stand beside Jake and Lisa. Think they'll ever mock us again? He asked. Lisa smiled. No, but more importantly, they'll think twice before mocking the next young species that comes along. Through the view screen, Jake watched the alien fleet forming an honor guard around their ship. We didn't just change their view of humanity today. We changed their view of what's possible. The Galactic Council chamber felt different as Jake Morrison and his team entered for the second time. The mocking laughter was gone, replaced by whispers of amazement and respect. Alien representatives who had previously ignored the humans now leaned forward, studying them with intense curiosity. The Vorathi counselor stood at the central podium, its crystalline body radiating formal patterns of light. The emergency session of the Galactic Council is now in order. We gather to acknowledge an unprecedented achievement. Jake noticed that even the seating arrangement had changed. The human delegation's platform had been moved from the outer edge to a position much closer to the center, a place of honor among the elder civilizations. The Zeltrax representative floated forward, its tentacles moving in what looked like embarrassment. Gone was the arrogant creature that had mocked humanity's early space efforts. Ambassador Chen, Captain Morrison, it began. I must ask, how? Lisa stepped forward, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber. How did we develop this technology? Or how did we succeed where others failed? Both, admitted the Zeltrax. My species has studied quantum mechanics for 50,000 years. We convinced ourselves that macro-scale quantum superposition was impossible. Kevin Patel, who had been invited to join the delegation, answered. That's exactly why you couldn't do it. You knew too much about why it shouldn't work. We didn't have those mental barriers. The spider-like arachnid delegate clicked forward. But the energy requirements alone should have made this impossible. Our calculations show you would need the power output of a star. Your calculations assumed you needed to force the quantum state, Kevin explained. We found a way to remove the quantum observer effect instead. The energy requirement dropped by 10 orders of magnitude. A murmur ran through the chamber. The floating brain entity pulsed with rapid thoughts. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. They solved the problem by redefining it entirely. The Corvin Empire's insectoid representative spread its glittering wings. We have underestimated humanity gravely. This technology could change everything. Travel, communication, even our understanding of reality itself. Ryan Brooks stepped forward. 3 days ago, you laughed at our primitive rockets and early space stations. Now you understand that those failures taught us something valuable. What did they teach you? Asked the butterfly-like alien. They taught us to never accept that something is impossible, Jake answered. Every explosion, every setback, every limit we hit just made us ask, what if we try it differently? The Vorathi counselor raised its arms for attention. The implications of human quantum technology extend far beyond simple space travel. This discovery will require us to re-examine fundamental principles we have held sacred for eons. That's why fresh perspectives matter, Lisa said. Every species brings something unique to the galaxy. You dismissed us because we were young, but that youth allowed us to see what you could not. The mountain-like creature rumbled from its position. We have been humbled. In our arrogance, we nearly denied ourselves access to revolutionary knowledge. The Zeltrax waved several tentacles in a gesture of deep respect. Ambassador Chen, on behalf of my species, I apologize for our earlier behavior. We mocked what we should have been curious about. Similar apologies came from around the chamber. Even the proudest species acknowledged their mistake in dismissing humanity. The Vorathi Councilor's light patterns shifted to formal configuration. The Galactic Council unanimously offers humanity full membership with senior status. You will have access to all our collective knowledge, trade routes, and diplomatic privileges. The chamber waited for Lisa's response. She looked at Jake and Ryan, who nodded their agreement. Then she faced the council with a calm smile. We thank you for this offer, Lisa began, but we must respectfully decline membership at this time. Shocked silence filled the chamber. No species had ever refused council membership before. May we ask why? The Vorathi Councilor inquired, its light patterns flickering with confusion. Lisa's answer would change the galactic order forever. Because we have a different proposal, one that will benefit not just humanity, but every young species that comes after us. The aliens leaned forward, waiting to hear what these surprising humans would suggest next. Lisa Chen stood before the silent chamber, every alien eye focused on her. The weight of history pressed down, but she remained calm. This moment would reshape galactic civilization. For millions of years, Lisa began, the Galactic Council has operated on a simple principle: older civilizations guide younger ones. This made sense when knowledge flowed only from teacher to student. But today proves that innovation can come from anywhere. The Vorathi Councilor's crystalline form pulsed with curiosity. What do you propose instead, Ambassador? We propose the creation of the Galactic Innovation Alliance, Lisa announced. Not a hierarchy based on age, but a partnership based on contribution. Every species, regardless of their technological level, would have an equal voice. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. The established powers shifted uncomfortably. Think about what happened here, Jake added, stepping beside Lisa. You almost missed revolutionary technology because you dismissed us as primitive. How many other breakthroughs have been lost because young species were afraid to speak? The butterfly-like alien fluttered forward. The humans speak wisdom. My people were mocked for centuries because we focused on biological technology instead of machines. Now our medical advances save lives across the galaxy. Ryan Brooks activated a holographic display. We've analyzed your history. In the past million years, 90% of major innovations came from species less than 50,000 years old. Youth drives progress. The Zeltrax representative waved its tentacles thoughtfully. But without guidance, young species make dangerous mistakes. They need protection. Do they? Lisa challenged. Or do they need respect? Partnership instead of patronage. Look at humanity. Our mistakes led us to quantum manipulation. Maybe what you call mistakes are really stepping stones. The mountain creature rumbled in agreement. The humans shame us with truth. We have grown comfortable in our superiority, forgetting that we too were once young and foolish. Kevin Patel spoke from his position. In our alliance, knowledge would flow in all directions. Old species share wisdom. Young species share fresh perspectives. Everyone benefits. The Cerebral Coalition's brain entity pulsed rapidly. The mathematical models support this approach. Maximum innovation occurs at the intersection of experience and new thinking. But who would lead this alliance? The Corvin delegate asked, its wings twitching. No one, Lisa replied. Leadership would rotate based on expertise. Facing a biological crisis, let the butterfly people lead. Exploring quantum realms. Humans take point. Each challenge matched with the best minds, regardless of species age. The chamber buzzed with discussion. Traditional power structures were crumbling before their eyes. The Vorathi counselor called for order. This proposal would overturn eons of tradition. Many established powers will resist. Then let them, Jake said firmly. Those who embrace change will thrive. Those who cling to old ways will stagnate. The choice is yours. A young species representative, barely 1,000 years into space travel, spoke up for the first time. The Denvari support the human proposal. We have innovations to share, but feared mockery. This alliance would give us voice. The Keltani agree, called another young civilization. As do the Morathi, added a third. One by one, younger species voiced support. Even some elder civilizations, recognizing the wisdom in humanity's words, joined the growing chorus. The Zeltrax, surprising everyone, moved to the center. My people have been among the greatest mockers of younger species. Today, we learned the cost of arrogance. The Zeltrax Federation supports the Innovation Alliance. The tide had turned. More established powers declared their support, not wanting to be left behind in this new era. The Vorathi Counselor raised its arms. The motion carries. The Galactic Council will transform into the Galactic Innovation Alliance. May this day mark the beginning of a new age of discovery. As the chamber erupted in celebration, Lisa turned to her team. We didn't just earn respect today. We changed how civilization works. Jake smiled. They mocked us for our failures. They didn't realize failure is just innovation in progress. Through the great windows of the council chamber, the stars seemed to shine brighter. A new chapter in galactic history had begun, written by the species everyone had dismissed as too young to matter. Remember this day, Ryan said quietly. The day humanity taught the galaxy that wisdom isn't measured in years, but in willingness to learn. The future stretched ahead, bright with possibilities that no one had imagined before humans dared to say, "What if we try it differently?"